There is a lie, an outright misconception that has been constantly spouted out throughout the years in Valve spaces, especially for games like Team Fortress 2 and CS2, but especially Team Fortress 2. And that outright lie is that Valve cares about these games. That Valve cares about how the community is doing, they care about how much money they make even. But that is not the case. Whereas any other company would care about these aspects, they would care about how their game is, well, just doing. Valve doesn't, and they couldn't care less. They're a unique case in which that they're the only company in the world that has the freedom to be able to not care about their games and for their games to still do so well. And so to answer the question of why Valve is so lazy, that's right, the root of all evil is in this case the root of all laziness. You see, because Valve makes most of their money, like genuinely like 70 to 80% of their money from Steam alone, which is basically passive for them, they don't have to do any work. Now all of a sudden they don't really feel like working on everything else. They don't really feel the pressure of making a good game. Whereas any other company, like for example, I don't know, Mojang, all of their money is in Minecraft. If Minecraft loses half its player base, Mojang will also lose about half of its revenue. But not for Steam. If Counter-Strike dies tomorrow, Steam will lose like $1 billion a year, which is nothing for them. They can still maintain the company. They can still do whatever the heck they want. Sure, they'll lose out on $1 billion, but it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. They can still do whatever they want. They have so many different baskets for their eggs that if one of the baskets like CS2 dies, they have Steam, which is the main basket to rely on all the time. And so long as Steam doesn't die off, which I think is very unlikely, Valve won't need to worry about money for a long time. And another thing that I want to talk about is their flatland structure. You see, Valve is a unique company in the way that they do not have managers or bosses. Whereas any other company has the low level employees, then there's managers, then there's the managers of the managers, then there's the top guy. Valve doesn't have that. Every single employee is free to do whatever they want. And although in many cases this has brought amazing products like Half-Life Alyx, like the Steam Deck, it has also had its drawbacks because there is nobody to guide these employees. These employees, although yes, they have the freedom to do whatever they want, at certain times this freedom is not a good thing for the general consumers. Because you see, since there's nothing really holding them back from working on whatever the heck they want, well, they don't want to work on a 16-year-old game. They don't want to work on Counter-Strike 2 and fix the bot problems. That's probably quite boring for them. They do not want to do that, and because of the flatland structure once again, and there's no boss telling them what to do, they don't even have a financial incentive to do it. So not only is it probably more fun for them to work on whatever the heck they want to work on, like the next groundbreaking AI system or the next Steam Deck, they do not want to work on a 16-year-old game like Team Fortress 2 or even a 1-year-old game like CS2, since they have much more fun stuff to do and they don't even have a financial incentive to do it. In fact, it's probably the opposite, because at the end of every single year, these employees at Valve need to say what they did. And so if they spent the entire year fixing Team Fortress 2 or fixing CS2, well, then, I mean, what are they going to say on that yearly report? Are they just going to say like, yeah, I fixed Team Fortress 2. Yeah, and that's it. That is not going to get them the job next year. That could potentially get them fired. So not only is there not a financial incentive, but there's an incentive to not work on these games and to not update the games. And so it's not really a thing of that Valve as a whole doesn't care about these games. Valve does care about these games. But first of all, it cares about these games way less since they're a much smaller income stream and since they have Steam to support themselves. And also it's a much smaller deal and they care a lot less than regular companies because they act less as a massive big company and more as 1,000, 2,000 individuals. The structure that has brought Valve to the top of the gaming landscape has also been their downfall in the last couple of years. So due to this lack of leadership in the company and this lack of problems and the lack of pressure from the community is why they don't update these games. And we have seen moments like in hashtag fix TF2 actually like last week in which that the pressure has amounted and they fixed the game kind of. And we have seen player counts go up. We have seen Valve probably making a lot more money now that the hackers and the cheaters are gone largely. But most importantly, this took a lot of effort from the player base. You see, while any other company, you could just say like, oh yeah, we're just going to like not play your game. Or like, yeah, no, we just don't like your game. Well, any other company, that would be enough to justify them updating the game. Even if it was like 10% of the player base leaving, that would still be enough for the company itself to justify updating the game and fixing the game. But because of Valve's lack of pressure, it now takes a lot more from the community. Years of trying to get them to update the game and hashtag fix TF2 for them to finally do it. And I think, me personally, that the straw that broke the camel's back isn't even the actual movement itself in Team Fortress 2. I think that the thing that pushed Valve over the edge for hashtag fix TF2 is the petition and the negative reviews. You see, when it was hashtag save TF2 a couple years ago and everybody was just protesting in the game, Valve didn't really care. If the protest stayed in the game and it only affected the game, that would be fine. But now with the petition, it went mainstream. Everybody was talking about it. It now didn't become an issue of fix TF2. It became an issue of fix Valve. It stopped becoming an issue entirely in the game of Team Fortress 2. Now it became an issue for Steam itself. And especially, I think the overwhelmingly negative reviews, that brought a lot of bad press to the company. Having a game that was loved for 16 years straight get review bombed to the ground, becoming the first ever Valve game to receive overwhelmingly negative reviews. I think that brought way too much bad press to the company, and that was what finally pushed the devs over the edge to let them fix the game. Now they're saying, oh yeah, we fixed Team Fortress 2 and we stopped all of the backlash for the company, which is a lot extra. Because although at the end of the day, Valve is a private company and therefore is, out of every gaming company that I know, the one that carries the least amount of bad press is still what can push a company over. And that, at the end of the day, is the only thing that us as a community have to pressure Valve. The reason why Valve isn't updating their games as much is, like I said previously, their flatland structure and the fact that they have too much money. But both of these form together to create a vacuum in which that Valve has very, very little pressure on themselves. And so the only way that we can push Valve to update these games is to put pressure on the company itself. And the only way for us to do that as a community is to, first of all, boycott the game, which is, first of all, very, very hard to do and probably wouldn't work. And second of all, I don't even know if that would work, since, like I said, Valve's fine with TF2 dying or CS2 dying. They're fine with losing the money so long as it doesn't affect the rest of the company. So the only real, actual, achievable way that we have to pressure Valve is to bring them negative press, since that affects not only the games, but the entire company as a whole. But with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like. It helps more than you guys can think of. And leave your opinions in the comments below. I will respond to each and every one of you guys. No matter what you comment, I will respond to it and I will heart your comment. Or if you guys just want to chill and watch one of these two videos, I'm fine with that too. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. See ya.